Welcome back to Culver's. I'm Sharon. You've seen me in previous little videos. So I'm introducing you. Yes, it's cold outside. Finally, it's not the second summer. So we're ready to plant bulbs. But first, I'm going to introduce you to all these wonderful amaryllis. So we're getting ready for Christmas and the holidays. Great gifts, great colors, easy to care for. Double plant or double petals. Amaryllis are a great gift. There's also we'll be getting in paper whites later on also, which are very fragrant. Sometimes a little bit over the top, but they're still cool. But really, truly, we got to think spring. Spring's right around the corner, and we're going to introduce you to the spring bulbs. They're right over here. You got the tulips, which are great. Deer do like the tulips, but if you don't have that issue or that problem, plant the tulips. There's the shorter varieties, the taller varieties, there's different flower shapes, there's fringes, there's lily-shaped ones, there's Darwins, there's Triumph bulbs, but there's a lot of different tulips. And if the deer are an issue, then you're going to plant allium. Allium, member of the onion family. Look at all the different varieties we have. There's different sizes, different shapes. Then the hyacinths, which are down underneath the allium here. Those are not bothered by deer either. Then we go around the corner, and the daffodils are a great plant because the deer don't like those. So there's a lot of options that you can plant with a deer won't decide they're a salad bar. But we're going to grab some bulbs. We're going to go outside and plant because the soil temperature is getting around 55 degrees, and that's where you want to get your soil temperature at. So we're going to grab some fertilizer to help with these allium bulbs we're going to plant, and we'll go outside and show you basically how to plant your bulbs. We're going to plant some bulbs. We've decided to highlight these in the spring because that's what spring bulbs are. They're hardy bulbs, so they can be planted during the fall and cool seasons. They'll be planted now. Usually what you do is you plant your bulb at least 2 to 3 times from the top to the bottom. So if this is 2 inches, you're going to go down and you're going to measure from the bottom. So you're going to have at least 6 inches above your big allium bulbs. Now with the smaller bulbs that are like the grape hyacinths, you can see how small those are. Those will probably go about 4 inches deep from underneath the soil level. Read the instructions on your bulbs that you get, and it will instruct you the right direction. So when you plant these, there's a top and a bottom. So always plant the tip pointed up to heaven. And then there's the flat side where the roots will come out. By planting them this season, they're going to have time because the soil is going to be warmer than the air temperature, and they'll be able to root. Oh, these are Globemasters. They're going to be big in a big ball of purple, 4 to 6 inches. It's probably the size of that flower, and it's made up of a lot of little purple florets. And it's stunning when it blooms in the spring. People always want to come in. We'll try to have some planted already for you to get this next spring. But we're going to plant these. We're going to space these bigger bulbs out at least 8 inches apart. And Luke has been nice enough to go ahead and dig this hole. And the soil was very compacted. You want to put, and we already have fertilizer mixed in with this. I added some perlite to it. You want your soil to have good drainage. A bulb hates to have wet surroundings, otherwise it will rot. We have 5 of the purple Globemasters in here, and then we're going to put in some smaller white allium. These are called Mount Everest, and the flower diameter on here is going to be 4 to 6 inches. So it'll be a nice blend of color in the spring. You want to get that other container, and we'll sprinkle these in with it. But we have the pointed sides up, and then we'll get these in the ground. You can also, if you wanted to, layer in some other bulbs, but we're just going to mix the alliums together. Perfect and perfect. Okay. So when this comes up, it's going to be a nice blend of purple and white. But you can also fill in this, backfill it, and then you could, as the level goes up, you could mix in some of the grape hyacinths. You could mix in crocus. You could mix in some of the smaller bulbs. You could even put a few daffodils or tulips in here with this mix if you wanted it that way. Our aim is just to have allium So this way the deer, will leave them alone. Backfill, the soil here was a little bit compacted, as you can see, so we will break that up. We've put in some extra potting mix and compost to help lighten it and make the drainage better. So we'll go ahead and backfill it, we'll water it, and then we'll wait till spring. We used a shovel and made a mass planting. But if you're going to do individual planting, you could hook on to, right over here are some augers that you could hook on to a drill, and you can go out and use those to the depth that you want. And then just put your fertilizer in the bottom, and never put the fertilizer, always mix that up and incorporate it into the soil, because you don't want the bulb and the roots to come direct contact into your fertilizer. So mix it up with the soil, and that way it's dispersed out. But we'll get these planted, watered in, and so the soil settles around the bulb, and we'll have a great display next spring. So I invite you to go take your pick of bulbs and have a great spring. It's almost like having an Easter basket in your yard.
Nice.
So
Maybe,
all the color we can get.
maybe just one question. How many nursery workers does it take to change a bulb?
Here's some of the products you can use. You can use your basic bone meal. You can tell here on the analysis, it does not have any nitrogen. It has your phosphorus and does not have any potassium. So, but your phosphorus is meant for your root development and your flower development and to help make the bulb strong. So the one downfall with bone meal is if you have a lot of raccoons, maybe they might be, I don't know, wanting to dig it up. So, and if that's the case, you can always put down some chicken wire fence on top when you're done planting, because those bulbs and the flowers will come up through the chicken wire fence, and they can't dig into the soil and disrupt the bulbs. So the other one that we used was the bulb tone. So bulb tone, the analysis on that is a 353, but it also has a lot of mycorrhiza in it. And that is a natural forming bacteria that will attach to the root hairs and make them grow better and stronger. And you can always look at the ingredients right here. You'll see all the different types of mycorrhiza on here. And then you'll see the analysis. So it has a 6% calcium in it. So that's kind of like taking the place of your bone meal.
And you'd only use this when you plant them now.
Right. And you could, as they get older and need a boost in their flower power, you might have to divide your bulbs later on, but then you could scatter this and work it into the soil so it can filter down into the root system area. Biotone starter. I like this when I'm planting my trees and shrubs, but I also can use it on bulbs. So that's another product that has a lot of mycorrhiza bacteria in it. The daffodils, they last quite a while. And somebody had asked me why theirs had stopped flowering. I said they were probably needing divided. So this would be the time of year, if your daffodils are not flowering as much last spring, you might want to dig those up gently and divide them, give them more room to grow, and feed them while you're transplanting them. Tulips, some are don't live as long as some of the others. There's Triumph and Darwin. Those seem to live a little bit longer. Had some in the ground for years and years and years, and they come back. They're a shorter variety, but the daffodils seem to come back. The alliums, they never fail me. Sometimes they reseed, and I'll find them in places I didn't expect. And the grape hyacinths that Luke has planting, they're a great naturalizer. They will reseed everywhere. There's also Siberian scillas, and they're a beautiful blue. I think we're sold out on those right now, but they're a great naturalizer too. The hyacinths probably don't live as long, but I've had some in the ground for at least, I'm going to say 6 to 8 years, and they come back every year. But it does help to fertilize them and give them some, and scratch it in and give them a little extra boost to keep them going. So if you have any questions, just give us a call. So we can tell you what varieties we have, and enjoy a happy spring.